Hello everyone and welcome to today's webinar, How to Revitize Your 2D Drawings. My name is John Atkinson and I'm an application engineer here with CTC. So how to revitize your 2D drawings. You've got some DWGs from some past projects and you want to get them into Revit, or maybe you've got some old PDFs that were given to you from a client that you want to convert. As long as those are vector PDFs, you can use those. I'll walk you through a couple of different ways that we can convert the old projects, either DWG or PDF, into Revit for architecture, HVAC, and plumbing. So our learning objectives, we're going to learn how to bring those DWGs into Revit and quickly convert those lines into 3D elements. And then how do we convert the vector PDFs for use within Revit? And I'll discuss the differences between vector and raster PDFs near the end. Understanding how to insert those DWGs into Revit and how we can easily control the layer visibility. So our DWG import process, first we're going to start by opening up AutoCAD, get that DWG opened, and verify that 00 is where you want it. Because when we bring that into Revit, that's going to correspond to the project base point or the origin of our Revit project. It should not be more than 20 miles away. This commonly happens with civil drawings, things like that, where their coordinate system is very large. So we want to make sure that we're within that 20-mile range. When we bring the link in, we're going to use origin to origin, and then we will choose which layers to bring in, either all, visible, or specify. These are the layers that were turned on or included in the DWG when you saved it. And then we'll place those DWGs at the correct level. So let's go ahead and jump into AutoCAD first. Here's my DWG of my project. And if I just simply do a line from 0, 0, you can see my 0, 0 is right down here. So well within the bounds that we need. So we can save that and export that out. Next, we'll go into our project, go to the Insert tab, Link CAD, go into our DWGs, and I'll grab that overall HVAC plan 01. Down below we have our options. Color, we can preserve the colors that were the lines were in the DWG, or we can invert those if we're going from a black background to a white background, just to make them a little easier to see, or we can go black and white. I like to preserve the colors. And also, as I mentioned, here are our layers. We can bring them all, or we can choose the ones that were visible at the time that it was last saved, or we can specify which layers we want to bring in. I generally leave it to all. That way I've got all my layers and I have full control over the visibility of those layers once I get them into Revit. And then we have imported units to auto detect. So if we take a look at our units within AutoCAD, you can see these are architectural inches. So when we bring it in, it should be the correct size. We always want to make sure that we're drawing 1-to-1 within AutoCAD. So if something is 3 feet, we can make sure that that distance is actually 3 feet. All right. We have positioning. This is origin to origin. That means 0, 0 is going to come in at our project base point. And we also pick which level to place it at. I currently only have level 1 available. But if I go up to my level 2 and do the same thing, I can actually pick level 1 and level 2. So if I had a large project, I would typically open up the roof level, and then all of my layers or levels below would be available for me to choose. So I can place them at level 1, level 2, level 3, and never leave that one view. Orient to view, we always want that checked. And then correct lines if they're slightly off axis. We also want that checked unless it's a topographic or a civil. We would uncheck it then. So I'm going to go ahead and say OK and bring that in. None of the elements are visible. That's fine because they're on level 1. And then I'll do the same thing with level 2. And there we go. So simple enough to bring those elements into Revit. If we go back to level 1 or hit our little doghouse, you can see I have both level 1 and level 2 available. Okay. So how do we control the layers in Revit? There are two ways. We can either use visibility graphics or we can use query. Visibility graphics is a good way if you know exactly what the layer names are. Query is great if you have no idea what the layer convention is and you just want to graphically select things and turn them off. So with controlling layers with visibility graphics, you'll open up visibility graphics either through the properties or VV or VG. Go to the imported categories tab, expand the DWG, and you can see all the layers, and then just uncheck the ones that you want to turn off. So if we want to control the layers in Revit using query, we'll go select the link, and up on the ribbon, you'll see you've got a query button over on the right. We're going to pick the lines or the text or whatever layer you want. Pick it, and then it'll pop up a little dialog box that tells you all the information about it. And you can select hide in view in the dialog box. If you made a mistake, you can always go into visibility graphics, open that up, go to the imported categories tab, expand the DWG so you can see all the layers, and just place a check mark in the layers you want to turn back on. So we'll come back into our first floor drawing, go to visibility graphics, imported categories, select our DWG, and maybe I want to turn off some of the annotation or doors. Pick it, some of the annotation goes off, but not all of it. Maybe I want to get rid of these air terminal tags that are appearing. So the first thing I'm going to do is select it, and it looks like that is my level 2. Let me just turn that off real quick. So I can select my level 2 and turn off everything about it. There we go. Query. Pick the tag, and it tells me it's text. It's on the HVAC CDFF ident layer. I have the option to delete it or hide in view. I don't ever want to delete these layers because I may want to use them later. So I can pick that, do this, and it'll keep me in the command. You can say M equip ident. Yep, don't want to see that one. Maybe these light fixtures, hide those too. Two escapes to get out. If I made a mistake, I can always go back in, imported categories, expand it out, turn my doors back on. Say apply, and okay, now my doors are back in. So creating the elements from the DWG. We want to add walls. We'll start the wall command. We'll set the location line to the exterior face, and we'll draw the walls. We can either use line or corner to corner, or we can use the pick lines to quickly add those back in. So if we go back into Revit, go to our architecture tab, walls, I'll pick the wall that I want, set my level height, and then here's my location line. Wall center line is what's on currently, but I want to make sure it's finish face exterior. I'll pick my corner, go to my next corner, but I can keep going around my project like this, placing those in. Here, let me change my discipline so you can see the walls are in. Or I can go into walls, and instead of using line, use pick lines. Nice thing about this is I can just pick one for each wall, one line, and come back later and clean those up. Go into the trim command, either here, you can see it's actually pretty fast to go around. Now, I need some doors. Now I can kind of see where the doors are, but maybe I don't have these lines. If I change it to maybe a CMU metal stud. Now I can't see anything. I don't know where the windows are. So what I would do is come down here to visual style, change it to wireframe. Now I can see through the walls and see the DWG below. So we want to make sure that that visual style is set to wireframe so we can place those doors and windows. We'd start the command, place them, and then use a line as needed. So doors and windows both work very similarly. I'll add some windows, fixed. Let's go with a 36 by 48. And I can place it here, maybe just a little off center. Or maybe I try and line it up. If I missed, I just go up to a line, pick my line, line it up. Same with doors. Pick my door. I'll grab a single 36. You can see it sort of catches and locks in, but it's not perfect. So again, a line, bring that all together. And we'll change that to a 42. Nope. Okay. Now if we're going to do ductwork, a lot of the similar things apply. We're going to start that duct command, set our justification to one side or the other, maybe it's left or right. We're going to size it appropriately. We'll set our offset from level, because the whole reason we're going into Revit is to be three-dimensionally accurate. And we'll draw the duct by tracing one side of the line work that we just brought in. And we'll use align as needed. So let's go back in here. Just start with this one over here. I can see it's 12 by 10. Go to my Systems tab, Ductwork command, 12 by 10, 9 feet, rectangular duct with elbows and T's, or I can go radius, elbows, and taps. Set my justification horizontal, left, center, right. We want either left or right. And then leave your vertical justification at the middle. Horizontal justification gives you a horizontal offset from this offset up here. So we want to leave that centered. So now I just pick my line work. Normally, you might want to go up to here and draw across, or one escape, back into it, go to the end, use trim, put them together. We'll change that to supply error, okay? And we can just keep doing that. There's another 12 by 10. My justification will remain the same. Draw it in. (12 by 8). We can just keep going through and doing this. Change it up to 24 by 12. It's not going to be necessarily correct, so I can delete that, use the align command, and then drag them back together. Can do the same thing all the way through. I don't have anything for plumbing in this particular DWG, but it would work pretty much the same. We'll leave our justification, center, and middle, because more than likely we're going to have single line piping that we can just pick on. So we'll set the DWG, the center of single line. Now if you are doing something like maybe some roof drains, you've got some rainwater leaders that are very wide, then I would use that same option for left or right justification. Set your size appropriately, offset from level, and then draw it the same way. So light fixtures and air terminals, you'll either need to add a ceiling or reference plane to make sure that those air terminals have something to host to, or light fixtures have something to host to, if your families are face-based or work plane based. I would typically recommend that all of your families be non-hosted, so you can just place them on the level, give them an offset. And when drawing your reference planes, always draw them right to left not left to right. This causes your, if you draw from left to right, your reference plane will actually be upside down. And if you place your light fixtures in there, they'll be shining up into the plenum space, or the air terminals will be blowing up into the plenum space. So, quick note, always right to left. So anytime if you're doing content creation, or if you're just adding new reference planes, just get into the habit drawing right to left. So I'm going to go back to my mechanical plan, and systems, air terminal. I can either give it an offset here and just snap right over the top of it. It's a little bit off, so we'll use a line. Maybe provide an offset, 8 feet. And from there, we can start using the duct command or the connect into command to start attaching that. All right, now we're going to talk about using AutoCAD to convert the PDFs to line work. Now, I mentioned earlier that you have to have a vector PDF. So I've got one that we printed out. And you can see as I zoom in, the lines stay crisp. They don't pixelate. Here's an extreme example. Looks good from this view, but as I zoom in, it's all pixelated. This is a raster PDF. We need a vector PDF to bring into AutoCAD. So if I go and start a new drawing, there's an option up here on the Insert tab, PDF Import. I'll grab my HVAC plan. Let's do level 2. Say Open. There's a couple of options on here. So we start the new drawing, go to the Insert tab, and then grab the page you want to import if there's more than one, and select how you want to create the layers. Lastly, we want to use infer line types from collinear dashes. So let's jump back to AutoCAD and look at that. Come on. Oop. There we go. Now, we've got browse to our plan, pick the page we want if there's more than one, and then specify the insertion point and scale. If you leave this unchecked, it'll just come in at 0, 0. And then PDF data to import. It's going to be vector geometry, solid fills. It'll convert the text to true type text. You could check raster images if you had any. I don't recommend it. It takes a little bit longer. And then layers. You can create object layers, or because we're only concerned about the line work, really all we need to do is just say create all the layers either by object or current. Import options, import as block. Not really necessary in our case. But we do want to join the lines and arc segments, convert any solid fills to hatches, and apply the line weight to properties. The last one, infer line types from collinear dashes. This is useful if we're looking at grid lines. They would all come in as individual dashes. Unless we have this checked, it will try and make all of those collinear dashes, one line. So we say OK. This takes a little bit of time. And there it is. So we have all of our elements, polylines, hatches, all placed here. Some tags that have been converted to mtext, some line work. All we need now to do is do a save as, save this out to a DWG, bring it into Revit, and we have something that we can use. So, upcoming sessions for July, we have additional What is Hive, some other ones. I recommend going to our website, cadtechnologycenter.com, go to events, webinars, mini trainings, and start looking at those. Sign up for them, register here, and thank you for watching.